know that the water comes into the house through the main water intake, whatever you call that thing. And I know that you can turn it on at the street. You can turn it on when it comes into the house. And I know that the hot water, somehow siphons off over to the hot water heater that heats the water up. And I know that if there's a hole in the pipe, that the floor is going to get wet. I know a lot about plumbing. I can deduce a lot of things about plumbing. I can deduce that, if I don't seal off something, I'm going to have water all over the place. But I cannot plumb to save my life. I mean, I am a horrible plumber. My skill set around plumbing is comical. It's probably not even that hard. I just can't do it. It is one of those skills that I personally cannot do. If I told you my plumbing stories, you would be in the floor laughing. They are comical. They have ended me up in the hospital, literally. Had to go to the emergency room for my plumbing disasters. And every time I ever try to do something with plumbing, I do it because I'm being cheap, and then I end up spending 4 or 5 times what I would have spent. I'm a horrible plumber, even though I know a lot about it. Now, why am I saying this stupid analogy? Here's why. Every one of you, if you've come to the last 16 classes, you know a lot about trading. That says nothing about your ability to trade. If you've been doing your virtual trading, then hopefully you've been getting some skill sets. But it's time that we get the head knowledge, the world of knowing about trading, and we turn that into a skill set that says, I know how to trade. They're two very different things. I can't teach you how to trade until you have the head knowledge, but now that you have the head knowledge, it's time to graduate from the books, and it's time to learn a skill set that you can take with you. I personally believe that of all of the information I teach you, and all of it is very important, but I think out of all of it, this process might be the most valuable because it is one thing that most people will not teach you, and it is that transition from head knowledge to skill set. Now think about it. Trading successfully is a stressful proposition. Trading is high stress. It's high adrenaline. You have the rush of making money. And if you've done this, how many of you have sat in front of your computer during the day, you buy a trade, and you just watch the money go up, and you watch it go down, you watch it go up. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm up $500. I'm down $250. Oh my goodness, where'd it go? Where'd it go? And it's a rush, isn't it? I mean, it's like the adrenaline's just rushing right through you. So you have the rush of making money. You have the fear of losing money. When you lose money, oh my gosh, I can't believe I lost my money. It's devastating, isn't it? And then you got this balance of the thrill and the fear, the high adrenaline, the stress. Oh, it's invigorating. It creates a thrill. But there's a problem with that. I mean, it's good, it's fun, but, there's a challenge. What do you call these guys? Sky surfers? I don't know what they are. The challenge is that it can leave you on an emotional roller coaster. So if you want to be successful, if you want to have the highest probability of success trading the stock market, you need to train the same way that other high-stress, high-adrenaline professionals train. Can you think of anything? Can you think of any high-stress, high-adrenaline professions out there? I can think of quite a few. For example, how about a surgeon? You think surgery is a high-stress, high-adrenaline job? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I personally would be a horrible surgeon because the blood would get to me. But, I can just imagine you're standing there in the operating room. You crack someone's chest open. You're holding their beating heart. You know their life is in your hands. You're thinking to yourself, I could stop this heart, or I could start it, right? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be intense. I can't imagine knowing that if I move the scalpel just the wrong way, that this person is, either dead or they're blind or something. What about pilots? I'm a pilot now. Some of you fly as well. when I started doing these classes, I was not a pilot, so this seemed a little more scary to me at the time, but no, it's not as scary. But as a pilot, I mean, yeah, it's high stress, it's high adrenaline. I mean, there's a thrill, there's a reason that we love to fly. Why? Well, because, if you can get back on the ground, you're successful at something. You have a skill set. If you can do it through the clouds, you got an even better skill set. I mean, it takes skill to do these things. And so, for those of us on the outside, if you're not a surgeon, then you don't understand the skill set. All you know is, man, I need a great surgeon. If you're not a pilot, all you know is I need a great pilot, because if I don't have the pilot, I'm going to go splat. Astronauts, soldiers, these are all high stress, high adrenaline jobs. And they all train the same way. Who here is a surgeon, a pilot, an astronaut, a soldier, or another high-stress, high-adrenaline job? In all of these situations, a firefighter, excellent example, firefighter. All of these examples have the same process of training. What is it? It's called simulation. Simulation. Every doctor, every surgeon I've ever met, before they ever get out of school, get out of residency, and start chopping on people by themselves, they have gone through hundreds of surgeries. Some simulated on pigs and dead animals and other crazy stuff. Some of them under the tutelage of a mentor. But you do not go see a surgeon unless that surgeon has been board certified and they can prove that they have gone through the simulation process without taking someone's life in their hands. It's not going to happen. You're not going to fly in an airplane of a 737 or a 747 or any other large jet aircraft with a pilot who has not simulated hours and hours and hours of obnoxious scenarios that you can never imagine. Like, what happens if I'm flying and birds fly into me and my engines are inoperable? Most passengers would never think about those things. Pilots think about those things because they can put it into a simulator. And you simulate so that you can handle it. What happens if I'm about to land and the wind changes? That could cause you to crash. And if you've not planned for it, you've not trained for it, it can be devastating. What if you're a soldier? Soldiers prepare for battle by going through what? Simulated training. They do war games. They simulate the situation. They plan through it. They do mock-ups of the battlefield. They do all sorts of simulated planning so that when they get there and the bullets are whizzing by, they're prepared. So tell me, how naive is it for so many people to go fund their trading account with $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, $30,000, $100,000? I've had students come to me who started their trading account with $500,000 or more. How naive is it to go fund a trading account and not walk through the simulation process? For many of you, you fund your trading account with your entire life savings. How naive is it to go play with your entire life savings in an arena where if you do some stupid stuff, you might lose your financial life? You're not going to die, but you might lose your financial life. And yet, most individuals will not walk through that simulation process. I've got a process that I call trader conditioning. And this process it's very heavy on the simulation process, very heavy on the historical replay process. And if you'll do this, it is the same process as going through a flight simulator or simulating surgery or simulating battle, because it loads it into your brain and it gets you prepared for game day. So let me talk to you about it. There's a few tools that you're going to need. Number one is your historical replay. Number two is your virtual trading. And number three is your broker. Let me break them down. Your historical replay is going to be provided by a quality charting software. People often say, Jeremy, why can't I just use freestockcharts.com? Because freestockcharts.com will not let you go back in time and trade like it's real time. You need a real charting software that will do that. Trade Navigator will do it. Motive Wave will do it. TradeStation will do it. Trade Ninja will do it. Thinkorswim will do it. There's a lot of them out there that will do it. You need one. If you don't have one, that is your number one note for tonight's class. Get a charting software that does historical replay. It is imperative. It is a must. Unless I want to be lazy and not do what I need to do when I need to do it, regardless of if it feels good or not. You can choose that, but I'm going to suggest that you don't. All right, so you need a charting software. Most of you have already downloaded one of these. If you don't, go download yourself one. Yes, TradeStation does it. TradeStation, Thinkorswim will do it as well. Trade Navigator, Motive Wave, TSU Charts is Motive Wave. Yes, so there's a lot of charting softwares that will do it, but you need to have one. I don't care which one. You just need to have one. All right, the next step is virtual trading. You're going to have your virtual trading platform. Now, this is normally going to come through your broker. The three big ones that our students use are Thinkorswim, Options House, and Options Express. And then more recently, TradeStation. TradeStation does virtual trading very well as well. There's a couple of others I think that are doing it now, but these have historically been the big ones. And again, I'll write up here TradeStation because we've got a lot of students that are switching over there. And full disclosure, I am making the switch as well. I've not fully made it, but I am in the process of making that switch as well. So TradeStation, they do virtual trading. And what the virtual trading does is it allows you to trade in real time, filling out identical order forms or nearly identical order forms, but instead of using real money, you're using fake money. That's the benefit here. And once you get through the virtual trading, great, you've done it. But it allows you to simulate real trading without real money. That is priceless. And I'm telling you what, let me just stop right here and tell you, before I became really good at trading, I was really, really bad at it. And this is why. Because I skipped this step. Back many years ago, I had the hallucination, the seizure, that I should go put all the money that I could get my hands on into a live trading account. And I did that, and I went broke very quickly. And then I got some more money, and I went broke very quickly. And I got some more money, and I went broke very quickly. And the reason is because I never took the time to learn. And virtual trading was the key for me. So I really emphasize this a lot. Your broker, they're the ones that are going to bring you to the table for your actual trades. You all should probably have a broker by now. If you don't, I'm surprised, but most of you probably have already decided on one. Options Express, Options House, Thinkorswim, TradeStation. Whoever your broker is, I'm good with it. You just need to know that they are there to serve you. You are not there to serve them. So make sure they're giving you what you want and that you like your broker. All right, let's talk about the process. There's 4 steps in trader conditioning. There is the drilling phase, there's the speed trading, there's real-time virtual, and there's real money actual trading. All right, so the first step is the drilling phase. And the drilling phase is fairly fast-paced. The metaphor that I use for this is it's kind of like if you're in football practice and you're running football drills. Okay, so this picture is really perfect for this particular phase of the trader conditioning process. Basically, what you're going to do in the drilling phase is you're going to focus on each aspect of your analysis. For example, what if you want to drill your candlesticks? This is how you're going to get really good at interpreting candlestick data. You're going to go drill just your candlesticks. If you're in football practice, they don't drill everything at once. What do? They run components of the plays, not everything. And that's what you need to do in the drilling phase. You're running components, various aspects of your analysis. So the purpose of the drill is to drill your analysis to make sure you're doing it right, to make sure you understand it, to go over it and over it and over it. You're struggling to identify chart patterns. The way you're going to identify them is to go look at about, 10 years worth of charts and identify a bunch of chart patterns. That's the way you get good at it. You just go do a bunch of it. And if you don't go do a bunch of it, you're not going to get good at it. You're drilling it. And so the purpose of this phase is to drill your analysis. You're going to go each aspect. Remember, there's 5 steps of trade confirmation, 5 steps of analysis. What are they? Line analysis, moving averages, chart patterns, candlestick patterns, and indicators. So there's 5 right there that you need to go drill, and you may drill a little bit deeper in there. You may say, hey, I'm going to focus on just the stochastics. I'm going to focus just on the MACD or one of the other indicators. So, you can drill in as much detail as you're willing to go into, but the idea here is that you're just going to drill your analysis, make sure you're doing it right. Repetition is the mother of skill. And what the drills do is they force you to do it over and over and over again. Now, this particular phase of the trader conditioning process is fairly fast-paced. You can memorize the patterns, the analysis tools pretty quickly as you get going into it. And what it's really going to do is it's going to get you ready for a more application scenario, more where you're pulling it together. But if you're sitting here tonight, and most of you are, you've been through level 2 and it came at you really fast, and you're sitting here thinking, yeah, I know line analysis, I know chart patterns, I know candlesticks, but I don't have a clue how to identify them. Well, you need this phase. This is the way you do it. As we're going through all those lessons in level 2 and you start to feel overwhelmed, I've been telling you, this is where you're going to get good at it. This is it right here. This is your key. The drilling phase. It gets you ready for the more application, bringing it together scenarios. And if you want to, you could document it. You don't need to. Certainly not at the beginning. If you do any kind of documentation for the drilling phase, I suggest you do a very clean, quick documentation. Something like this right here. So you might just say, on 7/1, the entry price, I'm making this up, it was $100.47. The target was 105. The stop was 98. And then you see how it worked out, the next day, 7/2. You could do that if you want to. Keep it clean, keep it simple, and keep it fast. Don't spend a lot of time documenting the drills because, again, it's just the drilling phase. Now, the next phase of trader conditioning is the speed trading. This is where everything's going to kind of start to come together for you. Okay, and don't worry, we're going to walk through this. I know you need examples. I'm going to give you examples. Hang with me. Let me just introduce it first. Okay, the speed trading is going to use the historical real market data. So we're going to trade history as though it is real world. That's a cool idea, isn't it? So we're going to go back in time. It's like we jump into the time. What do you call it? Back to the Future time machine. Thank you. We jump into the time machine. I tell you what, my brain's stopping. It's not working like it used to. So we're going to jump in the time machine. We're going to go back in time, use real historical data, and we're going to train to recognize current trading setups, trading scenarios. We're going to walk through the trade setup. The only way we'll know how to do that is because we've done the drilling phase. If you don't do the drilling phase, you'll get over here into the second speed trading phase, and you'll be bouncing all over the place, doing bad interpretation, wondering why you're beating your head against the wall because you're not ready for it. You need to go do the drills first. Okay, so you do the drills. We're going to walk through all 5 steps of the trade confirmation, set the trade up, and then we're going to move it forward one day to see what happens, and then we'll adjust for the next day. Now, if you look at this, you realize this is the same step. This is the same process, the same procedure that you're going to go through every day trading the real market, real time. But the benefit of this is we can do it just that fast, just really fast. We do the trade setup. We walk through the trade setup. We do the 5 steps of confirmation. We set it all up. We're like, okay, here's what's going to happen. Push it forward one day. Did it happen? Push it forward another day. Did it happen? And then you make any adjustments that you need to make. And so what happens is in the speed trading, we can literally go through 6 months of trading in maybe a couple hours. So how would you like to get 6 months of experience in a couple hours? It's like time warping. It's fantastic. This process right here is so freaking valuable. I mean, I cannot even put words or dollar amounts to the value of this process right here. Because if you'll go through the speed trading process, you can literally get years of trading experience in just a few weeks worth of time. It is so valuable. And by the way, this is the process that I put myself through. Okay, I've done this myself many, many times, and this is the process that I did it through. All right, so with the speed trading, you can do it without documentation, and you can move really quickly, but before you leave this step, you need to be journaling your trade setups. And you need to journal a lot of them. I would suggest you journal at least 10 stocks for maybe 6 or 8 months. So that means that you've written out many pieces of paper of trading journal as though it was real. But the reason you're doing that is because you're conditioning yourself. And that's what I said earlier. Most of my students won't do this. But if you will do this, it will make you a much better trader. And I'd like to see you getting a winning ratio of at least 60%. In other words, if you're speed trading and you're not making money on 6 out of every 10 trades, well, you need to keep speed trading. You might need to go do some more drills. Figure out what's going on, because this is the fastest way to figure out what's going on without moving on to real time, which is way slower. So just walk through it and just keep doing it until you've pounded out, until you've figured it out. The purpose of this step, this is really important. Make sure you make this note. The purpose of this step is to drill your analysis, not your strategy. The strategy will come. But right now, what we're trying to do in the speed trading is make sure you can do really, really good analysis first. And when you can do that, then we can apply the strategy. All right, let's talk a little bit about journals. There's a couple journals that a lot of my students use. These are in your notebooks. And you can just put your ticker symbol in this one here. This is kind of the very basic, straightforward one here. So let's say you're trading Starbucks. You can put this up here. And, you put your date in here, 11/17/2014. And then you put your entry price, blah, blah, blah. Here's my target. Here's my stop. Then you go to the next day, 11/18/14. And you just do the exact same thing. It's just very, very straightforward, entry, target, and stop. This is not my favorite version of a journal. I used something like that for years, but I like this one a lot better. This is the one that we used, or we have used for a couple years now, and I like this one a lot. And the reason is because I can do a bullish setup and a bearish setup. You can set your date in here, 11/17/14. Excuse me. You can set your target in here, in your entry, and your target, and your stop for a bullish trade setup, entry, target, stop for a bearish trade setup, whatever it is. And then you just move forward. And, maybe the next day you just say it's the same. Maybe for one day you have no trade setup. You want to do some notes down here. Here's where your notes can go. And, of course, you can check off your 5 steps of trade confirmation. I like this journal. What it does not include are, your rules for trading and stuff like that. But in terms of doing a basic trading plan and a plan that you can work with day by day, I think this is a very good layout. And I really like this. But you need to do something of this nature in your historical speed trading there to start getting into your fingers, so you're really getting good with it and you understand how you can go back and look at what you've done. All right, now the next step, the third step of trader conditioning process is your virtual trading. If I were to stick a metaphor here, let me give you some metaphors. Virtual trading is game day, is preparing for game day. Sorry. This is the preseason. Okay, so virtual trading is preseason. In fact, let me just do this on a white screen here. In fact, let me just clear that off. Step 1 is drilling, and we'll just call this, in football terms, this is practice. Practice drills. Okay, now what's the next thing that they do in football practice? The next thing is they run plays. Okay, so we call it speed trading. In football, they would call it run plays. Now, this is where in the football field you got the offense and the defense. They're going to play against each other, and they're just going to run a play. They're not keeping the clock. They're not doing score. Not doing anything that's part of the game. They're just running plays to make sure everybody knows where to go, when to go, and to adjust. That's what speed trading is. You're running the plays. You're not necessarily putting strategy in there. You're just running the plays. Now, the third phase is virtual trading. And this is like preseason. Now, preseason scrimmage games, are they important? Yeah, they're important, but they don't count for anything. But what do you do in the preseason games? You go out, you practice some strategy, you run some plays, you keep the clock. You do everything kind of like game day. It just doesn't count. So that before the season starts, you can figure out, is this play actually going to have a prayer of working when we get into the real season? And then what's the fourth step? The fourth step is real trading, real live trading, and the metaphor would be live, real games that count. Okay, if you kind of keep that in mind, then you understand what's happening here. So by the time we get to virtual trading, we're preparing for game day. This is like preseason. You're going to do everything like you would do for the real game, but it doesn't count. So we're pulling everything together for real money. We're practicing strategy. We're doing the analysis. And we're not speeding through it. It's much slower. It's real time. In your speed trading, you can sit there and push the computer forward day after day, and you can go through weeks worth of trading in just a couple hours. In virtual trading, you do your trade setup, you place your trade, you got to go play golf because you're not going to get any feedback until tomorrow. I mean, it is real time. It is slow compared to the speed trading. You're going to be bored to tears. And by the way, that's a mistake that a lot of people make. They try to do virtual trading as fast as they did their speed trading. Speed trading will make you good. Virtual trading will get you ready for game day. Remember that. All right, finally, you need to be hitting 70% or greater in your win-loss ratio before moving on. That means if you place 10 trades in your virtual account, 7 out of 10 of those trades need to be making money. Now, I have seen this done a lot. I've talked to students. They're struggling. We get to talking somehow via email, via telephone, whatever. And I ask them, I say, how are your virtual trades? Have you been doing it? Oh, yeah, I've been doing it. How many have you done? I've done 6. How many did you make money on? I made money on 3. So you're 50% of your trades. Yeah, but I made a lot of money on those 3. I know you did. 50% of your trades. Now you're trading real money, and how many trades have you placed? I placed 10 trades. How many have you made money on? 4. It's awful. Yeah, I know. Do you see any pattern here? As you virtual trade, so you will real trade minus a little bit. If you're making 50% of your trades for a profit in virtual trading, when you get to real money, you're going to be making 40%. I don't know why it works like this. It just does. If you get 60 or 70% of your virtual trades making money, you're going to go to real money, and you're going to be making 40 or 50%. Just take 1 or 2 out of every 10 trades, about 10% less. That's just the way it works in the real world. I don't know why. It just does, and I've seen it over and over and over. Trust me on this. If you're not making money in virtual trading, I guarantee you will not be making money with real trading. So if you want to know if you're ready to go play the game, go play the virtual trading and see if you make money. And document it. Write it down so you know how much money you're making. This could be painful for you, I know. It's going to require some discipline that most of you aren't willing to do. But if you'll be willing to do it for a little while, you can do for a lifetime what most people can't, and it's going to be worth it for you. Document your virtual trades. Go back, learn from it. And then when you're when you're virtually trading successfully and documenting, when you're virtually trading successfully, now it's time to move into real money trades. And I suggest you don't do everything at once. Do 1 or 2 or 3. See how it goes. Use good money management. I'm going to teach you some more here in level 3 about money management. Do good money management. Really important. Set good risk-reward ratios, at least 2 to 1. Because what you're going to find is real money is way different than your virtual account. And what's going to happen is you're going to get into situations where you feel uncomfortable, and you're going to have to rely on your conditioning to help control your emotions. The second you put real money on the line, your emotions come flooding in. Got to remember that. And so if you've conditioned yourself, you'll react better than if you have not conditioned. Now, this is a great point to bring up, or great time to bring up some statistics for you. We did a survey, and it's a little old now. It's about 1.5 years or 2 years old now. But we did it with about 600 of our students who'd been through our program, Foundations of Stocks and Options Level 1, 2, and 3. They'd been through all 3 levels. And we simply asked them a question. We said, "Are you did you do the trader conditioning process the way that we teach it?" and only about 24% said yes. I was shocked. 24% said yes, they did it as we taught it. Now, the next question was, are you successfully trading? Are you successfully trading the market for money the way that you want to be trading it? Of the 24% who did the trader conditioning process, 78% said yes. Of the other 76% who said they did not do the trader conditioning process, it was less than 30% that said they were being as successful as they wanted. In other words, you can increase your odds of success from 30% to somewhere in the 60 to 80% range if you do this process called trader conditioning. And yet it takes discipline, something that most people aren't willing to do, as evidenced by the statistics that only 24% would do it. I want to encourage you to do this process. It's 4 steps. It takes time. I get it. You drill yourself, do the speed trading, do the virtual trading, jump into real-time trades. And you don't go to the next level until you're ready. But if you will do that, and you do it with great discipline, it will turn you into a great trader. I know it from my own personal results, and I know it from the results of our students. All right, let me give you some words of caution, and we'll kind of wrap things up here. Once you start trading real money, everything shifts. Everything shifts. So it's critical that you trust and you believe your training and the skills that you're building. That's what the trader conditioning process is really about. If you start losing money on more than 30% of your trades, go back through the conditioning process and find your errors. Maybe it's 40%, but you set a threshold and you say, if I'm losing more money than I'm making, it's a problem. I need to stop, and I need to go back through the conditioning process. If you'll do this, you can keep yourself in check, and you'll be more successful at the end of the day. Now, let me give you a cycle of progress, and then we'll wrap it up, and then we'll talk about the next class. Here's your cycle of progress. And, I've taught this many times to a lot of people, but it doesn't matter what we're applying it to, anything in life. In this case, we're applying it to trading. So, I want to be a successful trader, but, it can be anything that you want to do in life. The idea is that you have your outcome, you have your objective. This is my outcome. And then you got to go create a plan. Now, once you have a plan, if you don't put action behind it, you just have a dream, right? So what are we going to do? We're going to put some actions behind it. We come up with a plan, we take action, and then what do? We've got to measure those actions and see how well it's working. And once we've measured it, we can make new adjustments. Those new adjustments create a new plan. New plan creates new actions. Action, measure, adjust, plan. Now, you notice what's happening here. If we follow this, it's like a wheel, and it's moving forward. It's a cycle or a wheel of progress. Now, as long as you're making progress, you're not moving backwards. And if you're making progress, you're getting closer and closer to your goal. But what happens for most people will come out and they'll say, you know what, I got an objective here. I want to go lose weight. Okay, so how are you going to lose weight? Well, I'm going to go lose weight by not eating Big Macs. There's your plan. And then on, 5 days into it, you can't help yourself. You're eating Big Macs. So the actions did not match the plan. The plan wasn't really that big of a plan anyway. And you wonder why it didn't work. And where do you go? You go straight to Failureville. Well, I'm just the fat guy. I'm the one that it doesn't work for. My family, we're just big boned. Making excuses, being a victim, not taking personal responsibility. Whereas someone else may come along and say, I'm going to lose weight. What's your plan? My plan is I'm going to go do P90X. And even if it burns, I'm going to go do it. And then for, 3 weeks, they go do P90X. And then what do? Well, you got to keep getting on the scales to see if it's working. And then maybe they discover that, for 2/3 of the workouts, I'm so sore, I can't do anything effectively, and I'm not really burning the calories I want to burn. So they adjust, and P90X looks like I'm going to get a personal trainer that's going to make this better for me. And they managed to go through it for 4 weeks, make some measurements, they see some progress, maybe make a few adjustments, they keep adjusting the plan, making progress. Far too often, I think what happens for individuals is they come up with a plan and they don't take action and they wonder why they fail. Or they come up with a plan, they take action, and they don't like the immediate results and they quit. That's not the cycle of progress, and it's not the way that successful people do it. Successful people make a plan. They take some action. They measure the actions to see how close they are on track to getting to their plan and to their outcome. And if they've got what they want, then they keep doing it. If they don't, they make the necessary adjustments. The new necessary adjustments gives you a new plan. New plans require new action. New action, measure, adjust, plan, action, measure, adjust, plan. This is a cycle of progress. It works for anything. Now, you notice what's missing from the cycle of progress. The cycle of progress is missing failure. And it's not because there's no negative results. Everybody who's ever been successful is going to get negative results. It's going to show up here when you're measuring. Everybody gets them. The difference is one person says, well, I got a negative result. I'm a failure. This thing didn't work. The other person just sees it and they just say, that's interesting data. As we start getting into the trader conditioning process, you're going to have a lot of opportunities to feel like you're a failure. You're going to have a lot of opportunities to feel like the measurements and the results that you're getting from your actions are negative and that this is not what you want. I really want to encourage you to recognize that it's just data. It says nothing about you. It says nothing about your skills, your ability. It says nothing about the market. It says nothing about your training. It's just part of the process. Now, you're all adults. If I tell my 4-year-old, I have a 4-year-old who's learning to play violin. If I tell my 4-year-old, you're not going to be able to play a Mozart string quartet, whatever, and for another 9 years, he's going to say, okay, because time is relevant to him. He doesn't care. In fact, the way they start him off with their Suzuki violins is they don't play anything for like 2 months. It's crazy. I'm bored for him, right? But it's the process. He's 4 years old. He doesn't care. You're all adults and you care. The challenge is there's still a process. What each of you want is you want to snap your fingers and say, I've been trading for 10 years and I got 10 years of experience. I can't give that to you. Only 10 years of experience will give that to you. But here's what I can do. I can give you a way that you can time warp it. The trader conditioning process will do that for you. If you will do the trader conditioning process the way that I'm teaching you, the way that I will teach you, the way that we're going to look at in the next class, if you will do the trader conditioning process, it will make you a much better trader much faster. You can still get there the slow way. It's just going to cost you a lot more money and a lot more time. So I really like to encourage you to commit. The first step of your plan is commit to doing the trader conditioning process. Okay, I know you've got more questions than you've got answers right now, but here's the nature of tonight's class. Tonight's class was about setting the stage. I want you to have the philosophy of success. I want you to have the mindset of success, that you're coming in, you can do this, that you're going to learn what it means to be successful. And I wanted you to have an overview of the trader conditioning process. I used to try to do all this in one class, and it's just too much. So I've broken it into 2 classes. Here's what I need you to do tonight. Make sure that you've got a charting software that has historical replay. If you don't have Trade Navigator or TSU Charts or Thinkorswim or TradeStation or another one that does historical replay, then you've got to get your hands on one. You've got to do this. Otherwise, you cannot do the exercise that I'm going to be teaching in the next class. Now, the next class, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go step by step. Tonight, I gave you the overview. In the next class, we're going to go through the drilling phase. We're going to go through the speed trading phase. We're going to go through the virtual trading as much as we can. And real trading, I'm going to leave that one up to you. But specifically, I'm going to show you how to do the drilling phase, and I'm specifically going to show you how to do the speed trading phase. Those are the two that you'll get confused on, and I'm going to show you how to do both of them. All right, so that brings us to the end of class tonight, and I hope that you've got some pretty good excitement moving forward. I hope you're feeling really inspired. Again, we'll be here Wednesday night, same time, same place, 11 p.m., and I look forward to seeing you there. I'm not going to open it up for Q&A tonight. Instead, we're going to shut it down a little bit early, but you guys have an awesome night. Happy trading to all of you. I'm thrilled to be here with you here in Level 3, and I look forward to Wednesday night. Good night.